Yes, team, and welcome to today's training and the first series of a 5-part masterclass on overcoming fear and overcoming procrastination, the two things that will hold you back your entire life. So, whatever you've been putting off doing, whatever you've not been doing because you're afraid, whatever you've been procrastinating on, just do it now. End of training, and I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. If only it was that easy. So we all know what we need to do, don't we? Deep down, we all know what we want. We all know what's not working, and we all know the actions that are needed to fix these things and move forwards. We all know the conversations we need to have that we're not having. So why don't we just do it? Why don't we just take action? Why don't we just jump in, feet first, like we did in Eskdale, and do the thing? Because nothing in this world will move us forward faster towards our dreams than developing the habit of decisiveness, of making decisions quickly. Yet we all still, including myself, leave everything to the last minute, or we leave it to the point where we're in so much pain that rather than being pulled by inspiration towards the thing we want, we wait until we are in desperation. And then when we're in desperation, we use the procrastinating excuse of not having motivation or needing motivation. When you have inspiration, you don't need motivation. I've said this before, there's two types of people in this world. There's those that are inspired and those that aren't. So we need to work out, how do we stop leaving things to the last minute? How do we stop leaving decisions until we're in so much pain that we don't have an option but to make that decision? And the reality is, very often, the decision that we don't make can then end up being made for us anyway. So the reason why is because the other things that we do are easier. There's no fear involved. There's no discomfort. So we'll keep doing the easy things to avoid the hard things. But the reality is, hard things lead to an easy life. Hard choices lead to an easy life. Hard decisions lead to an easy life. Easy decisions, hard life. Avoiding hard things will never lead to an easy life. So another example of this is everything seems hard until it's done. And it's why we must consistently try and do harder things. A marathon one day was hard for me. And then once I'd done a marathon, a half marathon became easy. 50 miles was hard. And then once I'd done 50 miles, marathons seemed fairly easy. When I'd done 50 miles, I couldn't even get my head round how I could do 100 because I had to do the same again. And I was physically done after 50. No doubt one day in the future, 100 miles may seem easy to me, having done 200 miles. Not currently, but one day. So the harder the things that we consistently do, the easier life becomes. Yet we become a master. Drop me a yes or put your hand up virtually if you have been a master of procrastination, a master of using overwhelm as an excuse. Remember, overwhelm is a myth. Overwhelm is bullshit. It's just an inability to focus on one task That's important at a time, and do that one task until it's complete. Because that task is normally difficult, so we'll do the easier things first. Now, if we want to move forward, we must overcome this. And we must not just make the decisions towards our future faster, because we're all great at making decisions. We're all great at writing goals down. We're all great about talking about what we want, the weight we want to lose, the money we want to make, the relationships we want to have. But we also have to take action faster. Otherwise, we're locked in this wishy-washy manifestation, dreaming, goal setting, making lists, but never actually doing anything. Now, very often, what happens is, and what I've written down here, is I'll not do X, important, exciting, dreamy goal that's going to lead my life forward, important, urgent, critical task, until I've done Y, less important, less dreamy, less exciting task. And that needs to become a thing of the past. We need to stop saying, I'm going to just do X, unimportant, shitty job, before I do Y, really important job that's going to move us forwards. Because indecision, procrastination, and overwhelm will absolutely destroy your life. And they have destroyed my life in the past. You know, I think every single person has done this at some point in the past, especially in a relationship or a career. Drop me a yes or put your hand up if you've been in an unhappy relationship, career, or position in your life, maybe your weight, for years, for absolutely years, and not taken any action towards it. Until often, sometimes it's taken out of your control. The amount of people that I know have been in unhappy careers for years and then they've lost their job is insane. The amount of people that have been in unhappy relationships and then their partners actually ended up finishing the relationship. So they waited that long that the decision was then taken out of their control. And trust me, if you take one thing away from today's training, and it is very fitting that I have Napoleon Hill's book there, Think and Grow Rich, 15 million copies sold, the #1 best-selling personal development book of all time, which is, he talks about decisiveness. So decisiveness is the #1 skill that will skyrocket your life forward. The ability of you to make quality decisions about your life quickly and do the actions. He studied over 500 of the world's most successful people. People like Henry Ford, Ford Cars, Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb after failing 1,000 times. In his words, he didn't fail 1,000 times, he just found 999 ways not to create the light bulb. Thomas Edison. So he found that all of these successful people, the leaders in the world, we're not even talking about like normal world millionaires. We're talking, they're big league, aren't they? We're talking Andrew Carnegie League. So they had two traits. One was definiteness of purpose. In English, knowing what the fuck you want. They knew exactly what they wanted. They had a vision. The greatest story about Walt Disney, I don't know this exact story, but it is in my head. Somebody was talking to one of his brothers or his uncle's family members when he had died and said, "Oh man, if Walt could have seen this." And the person said, "Oh, he saw it. That's why it's here." So they know what they want. They can see it. They can believe it. But that's not enough. But that is the definiteness of purpose. You have to know what you want. how you want your relationship to look, how you want your job to look, how you want your body to look, your house, your life, everything. You have to know. If you don't know, how can you ever go for it? You can't hit a target that you can't see. And the second one is decisiveness. All successful people, as researched by Hill, and 500 of the world's most successful entrepreneurs and leaders of all time had the habit of making decisions quickly and confidently. The result, they all got what they wanted. So it's proved. It's not Freeman making this stuff up. It's proven, researched. Okay? So getting shit done, so to speak, quickly, will not only improve every area of your life, your career, your relationships, your business, your finances, your relationships with your children, your partners, your friends. It'll also give you more time to do what you love. How much more time would you have if you stopped procrastinating on making decisions? Big, hard, fast decisions are the way. Now, honestly, because I've said it, drop me a yes now or raise your hand virtually. Who said I'm a procrastinator? Who said I struggle with overwhelm? So you are not a procrastinator. And you don't suffer with overwhelm. They don't exist. It's not a disease. Go to the doctors and say, hi, I think I have procrastination. Oh, well, don't worry, Stephen. I'm just going to do this blood test. Oh, yeah, it's come back. You are a procrastinator. Here, let me give you some fucking pills. We'll sort that out. So don't label yourself because it doesn't exist. Don't say I struggle with X because it doesn't exist. Because what you think about, you'll become. We've done this. Go back and watch the training on the most powerful weapon you have is your thoughts. What you say about yourself to yourself is more important than what anyone else says. And whatever stories you tell yourself, go back and watch the training, I Become My Story. Whatever you say about yourself to yourself will become the truth. I'm not good enough. I suffer with overwhelm. I'm a procrastinator. I'm anxious. I don't have any confidence. I'm not good enough. I always fuck up. I'm not worthy. Whatever you say. So if you have had the habit of saying, as multiple people have just said, I'm a procrastinator, guess what? Be careful what you wish for and say about yourself because that's what you'll become. So if you go back and it's one of the best trainings, if you haven't watched it, why? What were you doing instead? What were you procrastinating on? What were you doing when you should have been watching that week's training? The 2 hours out of that week and the plan that you pay for that you're not doing the work on because guess what? You're doing other things that are more important in your head. Creating a new identity is the key to lasting change. I am a powerful, focused leader who sets the standard for my son and impacts and inspires people on a global level to live healthier, happier, wealthier lives. That's creating an identity. Did anyone do the creating a new identity is the key to lasting change training and write down, I am a procrastinator who dwells on decisions. I am afraid and I never do what I said I would because I have no integrity and I always let people down. Of course you didn't. Yet if we haven't worked on this new identity and reminded ourselves every day, we will revert back to that default habit and feeling about ourselves that's probably been subconsciously running for years. Either we've created it or other people have. So go back and watch that training if not, because you're not a procrastinator. Now, you also might say, I struggle with decisiveness. I struggle with, who said this? I struggle with making decisions quickly. I struggle with making the right decisions about my life. I struggle with taking action even though I know what I should be doing, I struggle to do it. Every single person does that. I know what I should be doing, but I keep sometimes doing other stuff. So we're all decisive in areas of our life that we're confident and experienced in. Many people are very confident in making decisions quickly about going out at the weekend. Many people are very decisive about making the decision about getting another takeaway. Many people are very decisive about choosing not to go to the gym. Many people are very decisive about booking the next holiday. Many people are decisive about buying a bottle of wine every night. Many people are decisive about choosing to watch Netflix over personal development. Whatever is your thing, right? So we have the ability to make decisions quickly. So you can't be a procrastinator. You have the skill within you. Does this make sense? The decisions are the same. It's just about a different thing. I'm indecisive about going to the gym, but I'm decisive about ordering a Domino's. I'm indecisive about investing money in personal development, health and coaching, but I'm very decisive about booking another 2 weeks in Turkey. In fact, I made the decision in 3 seconds. But when it came to the other thing, I'll do that. Why? One's easy, right? One's easy, one's creative, one's fun, one's enjoyable. One's more important to us, essentially. And that's what we have to understand and be okay with. So the uncomfortable and difficult decisions are maybe I'll start my business, but I'm just going to book another holiday first. I need to invest £2,000 to start a business. Seems a bit risky, but 2 weeks in the Maldives, no, I know what I'm going to get for that. See the thing, it's the same decision, right? And it's built in confidence over time. Things we've done over and over and over again. You know, a footballer would be very decisive at making the decision over who's going to take the penalty. But if it came to a decision about something completely different in life he'd never done before, going to a ballet class, he'd probably consider whether it was a good idea or not and maybe put it off. Or, you know, maybe he's struggling with his mental health. I can just keep doing the thing that I know. This is what we do, okay? It's always when it's something new, something uncomfortable, something hard, something testing, but ultimately something that's going to take our life forward. Is 2 weeks in Turkey going to take your life forward? Is a takeaway going to take your life forward? Is another night on the fucking piss with the girls going to take your life forward? Is another car going to take your life forward? Is another Gucci handbag going to take your life forward? No. Is investing in yourself, your personal development, your career, your business, your skills going to take your life forward? Of course it is. But this is why we don't procrastinate on negative habits. Oh, do you know what? I was going to have another 2 hours playing Call of Duty later, but I decided not to do it because I decided to do some personal development work first. Do you know what? I was going to watch that box set that I posted on Facebook asking people what's the next best box set, even though I just told my coach that I'm really struggling for time. Tell you what, I'm going to do all my work, I'm going to get everything done first, and then I'll do the box set. You get the point, okay? So we all have the trait of procrastinating. We all have all traits. We all have the traits of overwhelm, stress, anxiety, worry, fear. We all have all traits. We've done this so many times. You can't have love without hate. You can't have fear without courage. But that doesn't make us a procrastinator. We all procrastinate. That doesn't make us a procrastinator. We all feel afraid. That doesn't mean we struggle with fear. Saying we're a procrastinator is actually a bullshit excuse not to take action, to avoid the truth, to keep taking the easier road, to keep taking the path of least resistance, to keep avoiding the path of most resistance. And it's the same as the whole unmotivated, lazy thing. I always laugh about this. I think it was you, Loza, on your transformation, one of the original ones when we first worked together. Like, so many people, oh, Loza, you're so amazing. I wish I had your motivation. Like, she didn't have motivation. She had inspiration. She had a desire to do it. She did the work. It wasn't about motivation. So we're not unmotivated or lazy. The amount of people who say, I'm just so unmotivated. I'm just lazy. I'm a procrastinator. I suffer with overwhelm. Cover your kids' ears, but fuck off. I love saying that. I suffer with X. Fuck off. What you mean is, when things get hard, when the task is tough, when I have a difficult decision and it's not something that's particularly exciting to me and maybe not important to you, if it is, own it, aka diet and training. At least own it. So when you're avoiding the hard task of going to the gym, doing the personal development, ending the relationship, taking control of your diet, doing the work towards the thing that you keep saying you want, I don't have motivation. I'm a procrastinator. I'm lazy. Bullshit. It's just another bullshit thing that you're doing, or your mind, it's not always your fault because you might have done it for years, to get you out of doing the work. The person on Loza's transformation picture, they're saying, I wish I could do what you do. I wish I had your motivation. I need someone to motivate me. I'm just so lazy. I'm a procrastinator. I struggle with overwhelm. No, you're full of shit. You're absolutely full of shit. You avoid doing any difficult tasks in replacement of doing easy stuff, like necking shots, eating takeaways, moaning about your relationships, and putting the world to rights with Fat Sharon whilst walking around Rother Valley, smoking a vape and drinking a 250 calorie latte, because it's easier for you to say that. Okay? What happens when you're doing what you love? What happens when all the lads come round to book the next trip to Ibiza? You don't sit there procrastinating on it. All of a sudden, decisiveness goes through the roof. When it's easy, when it's something you love, when it's something that gives you a great habit. Gamblers, drug takers, oh God, can't really decide whether to sniff this line or not. Should I sniff the line? I don't know. I think, do you know what? I'm just going to leave the line there, and then I'm going to go and tidy the kitchen. And then once I've tidied the kitchen and made the bed and done all the other things I need to do, I'll then decide whether I'm going to take the drugs or not. Do you know what? Makes sense, right? Gamblers. Well, I can't decide. Do you know what? I just can't decide whether to put my football accumulator on this week. I can't decide whether to invest £30 of my hard-earned money on a bet that could make me 3 million. But guess what? For the last 35 years, one team's let me down. Oh my God. How many times do I need to have the lesson? I'm going to think about it. I'm going to maybe ask my friends. I'm going to ask my partner, and then I'll decide whether I'm going to place the bet or not. Of course you don't. I'm using extreme examples here, but these kind of metaphors hit home with people. So when we're winning, decisiveness goes up. When we're struggling and doing hard things, decisiveness goes down. Pain-free things, decisiveness up. Pain, decisiveness down. This is why it's easy to spend £5 on the holiday, but if we spent £5 on a business or launching our business, the one that we've been talking about since we were 21 years old, it seems like a risk that. I know what I'll do. I'll ask my mum and dad, who have never run a business in their life, because they're obviously like really well versed in giving me some advice on this. I'll ask all my friends, I'll think about it, I'll make some notes, I'll watch another 10 masterminds, I'll write, it's not the decision, I'm going to book the holiday. So, we can all be decisive. Do you agree? Yes or no? We can all be decisive in one area of our life. Is there an area of your life where you find it very easy to be decisive, even if it's buying another drink, packet of biscuits, or watching a box set? Of course you can. So if we can be decisive in one area, we can be decisive in any area. Can't just work in one area. It's just a thing, right? This was like the light bulb moment that I had for this. If I can be fearless in one area, I can be fearless in any other area. If I can be decisive in one area, I can be decisive in the other area. Anything else is just a bullshit excuse I tell myself not to do the work. It's the same thing. But here's the kicker, right? Fear and failure decrease decisiveness. So if we have knock back, we become less and less decisive about the thing we need to do. Maybe you've tried 7 different fat loss plans and they've all failed because you told lies and you couldn't keep your feet out of the fridge. So you're then very indecisive about the next fat loss plan because you've done 10 before but continued to eat Walker's crisps and made it someone else's fault and didn't do the work. So of course, you're not going to be very decisive about that next decision. Then you'll probably say, I'm unmotivated, I'm lazy, and I find it difficult to make decisions, and I'm a procrastinator, and I'm suffering with overwhelm, and I've got too much on, and I'm just going to wait until I've got the headspace, and then maybe I'll take action. We've all done this, right? I've done it. But when we can start moving forward and we get progress, and success, decisiveness becomes easy. When you've committed for 4 weeks, and you're losing body fat and you're feeling better and you've been listening to the personal development and you're putting yourself first and fucking gym's going great and you're seeing the benefits and everything's moving forwards, then it's easy to make the decision to go to the gym because we've started getting the benefit. So again, whatever one you use, and we're all different, whatever phrase you use to describe yourself, whether, let's just use procrastinator for the purpose of this training. You are not a procrastinator. What would another one be? You're not a worrier. You're not an overthinker. You just do it sometimes. And that's okay. But when do you usually do it? When do you worry? When do you stress? When do you procrastinate? When do you talk about not being motivated? When do you do all of the negative traits that you say about yourself that hold you back from getting where you want to be? When do you say you don't have motivation? When do you say you've lost motivation? You've heard me say it hundreds of times before. Drum roll. You haven't lost motivation, you just got distracted. We procrastinate when we're distracted. We worry when we're distracted. We stress when we're distracted. We talk shit about being lazy, not being good enough, not being motivated. Yes, 100%. So that's a different one. Hold that thought, Stephen. So we do all of these things when we're distracted, when we've forgotten about definiteness of purpose, when we've forgotten about what it is we want and why. When we've forgotten about the goal, the plan, and the emotional leverage and the meaning that's needed to get there. That's when we start talking shit about procrastination and overwhelm and stress and worry and being an overthinker. It's when we've got distracted away from the goal. Now, Stephen's brought up a very good point there. He's put when tired. And this is why an elite level of self-care, i.e. getting to bed on time, looking after your nutrition, getting up early, hydrating, completing your step-by-step planner that gives you a daily success plan and everything in between is so important, because all of these, if you have these borderline traits of shifting back to I'm a worrier, I'm an overthinker, I don't believe in myself, I don't have any self-worth, I'm a procrastinator, they're bad enough, right? Being tired is like pouring petrol on a fire. They all become 10 times worse. It's exactly the same as any person with any form of mental health issue that drinks or takes drugs. It's like pouring petrol on a fucking fire. It'll douse it down very quickly, escapism, holiday in your own head, and then everything comes back 10 times worse. It's the same with these. Everything's worse when you're tired. Most people aren't depressed, they have an energy problem. Most people aren't anxious, they have an energy problem. Most people are only overthinking because they're tired. Get to bed on time, look after your nutrition, journal, do your personal development, set your goals, have a plan for the day. So procrastination happens when we forget what we want or because it's too tough. Now, I'm pretty sure, unless any of you lied on your client questionnaires, the dream wasn't, how can I plan my next night when I'm out with the girls or boys? How can I plan the next box set when I'm going to waste weeks of my life on Breaking Bad or Sons of Anarchy or whatever fucking shit? By the way, I've watched them both, so I get it before you think I'm being judgy. The next takeaway, the next holiday. No one put on their form, what do you want to achieve in the next 90 days? Hopefully to have enough money to book the 2 weeks with the lads in Ibiza so I can get fucked out of my brains for 14 days, have a holiday in my head, forget about my goals and waste all my hard-earned money on a party. Nobody said that, yet we do that and make the decision on it quickly, right? Nobody said, hopefully I'll continue the habit of getting pissed every weekend and ordering a takeaway after 4 beers. Nobody said that. But because we got distracted from the thing that we wanted, we started taking the easy road of making the habit or recreating the habit of doing the thing that's holding us back. Like we do completely pointless things, right? When we've got something difficult that we need to do that we're not dealing with. Like I've told the story so many times when I had the mix to do for the radio and I'd procrastinated on it, even though I'm not a procrastinator. It was difficult and I was worried about it. So I kept putting it off rather than dealing with it. So 24 hours before the mix needed to be done, I decided to rewire the entire home studio because I wasn't happy with the sound or the feng shui or whatever else I wanted to create in my head of the room and didn't believe I could do the mix in that place. So I thought, if I just rewire everything, because I'm sure there's one wire timing out, which is just bleh, then I'll do the mix. Create myself a whole world of pain. Who's ever cleaned their entire house when they've had an important task to do? Who's ever booked loads of things outside of their relationship because they weren't dealing with what was going on in the relationship because it was easier to avoid it than deal with the issue? I'll just do meaningless task and then I'll have the headspace to do difficult, important task. I deal with it all the time. People like inquiring to join Unbreakable. I just don't offer them a place. I'm just going to get all this work stuff out of the way, and then I've got my birthday at the end of August, and then I've got 2 weeks with the lads at the beginning of September, then I've got an important work project, and then I've got the Butlins Weekender at the beginning of September. So I'm just going to get all of those things out of the way that are going to lead me much further down the line of being a drunk, fat, lazy mess. And then when I've spent the next 8 weeks being a fat, drunk, lazy mess, and I'm 6 weeks behind where I am now when I've asked you for help because I'm a fat, drunk, lazy mess, I'll then have the headspace to come on board and start taking action to not being a fat, drunk, lazy mess. It sounds so sarcastic, doesn't it, when I say it? Yet again, I've done it multiple times. I'm just going to do all this meaningless, pointless shit And once I've got all that out of the way, once I've completely fucked my life up for the next 6 weeks, I'm then going to sort it out. Because I'll have the headspace then. Because I'm not going to be like tired or stressed or skin or fatter or more depressed. So what I urge you to do today, what I urge you to do every day. Yes, Stephen. What is the most single important job I complete today? That will help with procrastination. So what is your number one most important task today? I mean, you might do this, you might not, but if it is this, I'd probably guess you're not going to live your dream life. Has anyone ever put, what's today's most important task? Tidy the house. What's my dream job? Tidying my house. How do I want my life to look 90 days, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now? I just want a fucking tidy house. Yet the funny thing is, right, we don't have the urge to do all these meaningless things. I had no urge to rewire the studio that I was going live in every single Saturday in lockdown until the mix needed to be done. I think the studio was fine for the 12 weeks before, but oh no, now I've got a mix to do for a fucking Capital FM. I know what I'll do is I'll rewire everything. It's subconscious bullshit, but we all do it. And that part of it, right, is not procrastination. It's precrastination. We'll do the meaningless thing, and then we'll do the thing, because we'll have more headspace. So I made a joke about it in the WhatsApp group this morning when I posted this training. I need to do today's training at 8 o'clock, but I'm just going to tidy the kitchen first. You know, I'm just going to clean the laptop. In fact, I'll just redo this whole kind of whatever this fucking bookcase thing is here. You know, so today's most important task for me is to create a prospect spreadsheet of incoming leads, so I know what leads I'm working on. I'm not just randomly fucking talking to people and getting distracted on social media every day. But what I could do, and what I have done in the past, very often, for full days, you know this, I've been very open about it. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'll clean the office, and then I'm going to go and change my bedding, and then I'm going to reply to 50 completely fucking pointless, non-urgent emails and messages, and then I'm going to do some Insta stories, and then I'll look at some tits and ass on Instagram whilst doing Insta stories for a bit. And then I'll do the random messages and reply to them on Instagram from people trying to sell me followers or shit like that. And then I'll maybe like get into a conversation with someone on Instagram about something completely pointless. And then I'll go back to Facebook, and then I'll do some food. Oh, fucking hell. School run time. Off in the car I jump, achieve the sweet square root of FA, and then what I'll do is I'll get round to Nats after dropping Logan off, and I'll talk about how angry I am at the world and how I don't have time and how busy I am and how it's everyone else's fault and how everyone's doing my head in and how the content that I was supposed to write today didn't get done and how I haven't even done the scripts for those reels for Ed, and I haven't even done the check-ins yet, and I'm going to have to go back and do them tonight, and I'm already tired, and then I need to be up for Sarah at 6 a.m. in the morning, and just this anger, resentment and frustration, all because I got distracted and didn't do the shit that needed doing over, guess what, easier stuff that I got distracted with. We need clarity and we need conviction every day. We need to be clear on what we're doing and we need to do it. So this is what I ask you to do. Guys, it's there. Do it now. Ow. What is today's most important task? Write it down. Stop what you're doing, Ali. Stop eating that cereal. Let me know in the comments what you're having for breakfast. Stephen, stop laughing at me. And just write it down. What is today's most important task? What is today's most urgent, important task? And Alicia, can you also tell us how, at the start of the 3 Shire's Head, you had that beautiful pink hair, and by the time you got out of the waterfall, it was fucking blue. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but my head is melted. Veggie sausages, fucking hell. She loves a sausage. Anyway, I think, I know you don't actually, do you? Anyway, moving back to the point. She's obviously a real life unicorn, or mermaid, sorry, because her hair changes colour. And then what are the next 3? So if you've got them written down, right, and you've done the planner, and you've got clarity, and you've got conviction, and you know what's today's most important task, and you know what the next 3 are, and you know why they're important and why they're urgent, and how amazing you're going to feel when you get them done, why the fuck are you doing other stuff? Lee Freeman. Why are you on Instagram doing stories? Lee Freeman. Why are you thinking about doing a reel about your day with Logan yesterday? Lee Freeman. Why are you thinking about writing yourself a new diet plan? Lee Freeman. They're not on the list, but I'll tell you what, if I'm not very careful today, I can do all of those things and then get angry about how I didn't get my shit done. So here's the big one, right? This trainer's going to go over, guys, but I want to finish it. And I'm in good flow. So let's continue. So we procrastinate very often when we feel a threat to our success. Drum roll. We procrastinate when we're about to do something that might trigger all of our biggest fear, which we all know because I've talked about it thousands of times, that we're not enough, that we're not good enough, that we won't be loved, and as a result we'll be excluded. That's when we procrastinate. It's a threat to our success. It's a threat to our dreams. It's a threat to us. If I just go and do this thing that I keep saying that I need to do to be happy, I might fail. And if I fail, then I won't feel like I'm good enough. People won't love me. I might get mocked, judged, and laughed at. So I'll just not do the thing and carry on with my soul-sucking with my soul-sucking existence instead, because it's easier, because I don't have to face any of those fears. It's why we avoid difficult situations. It's the classic diet and fitness person who needs to lose weight. I'm really fat, I feel like shit, my confidence is on the floor, my mental health's terrible. But even though I've said this 500 times for the last 20 years of my life whilst trying 10 diet plans, which as I said, all failed because it were my fault, but I haven't taken ownership of responsibility because I couldn't keep my feet out of the fridge. I'm not going to do that again, because what it will do if I fail again, it will invoke all of those emotions. I'm not good enough, I'm a failure. Nothing ever works out for me. So the things that we procrastinate on are difficult but rewarding. That's the reality. If said person finds the strength to consistently follow a diet plan and go to the gym, they don't even need a new coach. They just need to do the plan that they've always had, but do the work, right? It will be difficult and they will be afraid of failure, and that's normal. You can't do anything without there being a chance of failure. But I tell you what, if you don't even try, you've already failed. So we procrastinate on difficult but rewarding things in place of the easy things that keep us stuck. But it's not a habit or an illness or an identity. It's just the thing we've done our whole life. So it's not even your fault. You've probably created as a habit over 20 years. I'll procrastinate on going to the gym and getting my dream body and feeling happier, more energetic and confident and attracting all the things I've ever wanted in my life because of the energy that I'm giving out over another box set and another takeaway because it's easier. That's it. But here's the biggest thing, right? How many pages have I got left? 6. Might not finish it. Might finish it. Lost where I am now. Way more than 6 pages. It's a self-protectionism. It's a self-protection mechanism. I need to do X, i.e. go to the gym. I need to do X, i.e. track my food on MyFitnessPal. I need to do X, i.e. have the difficult conversation. I need to do X, i.e. sort my finances out. But it's hard. I need to go to the gym, but it's hard. I need to track my food, but it's hard. I need to choose veggie sausages, beans and scrambled eggs over Domino's, but it's hard. I need to ask the girl out, but what if she says no? I'll feel like I'm not enough. I need to quit this job and get a new one, but what if it doesn't work out? I'll feel like I'm not enough. I need to have this difficult conversation, but what if the person is really, really reactive and confrontational, and then I can't stand up for myself and I feel like crap? That's half my life, by the way. Avoiding difficult things. Avoiding hard things. Because I was afraid. And that's the truth, guys. So if you feel that way, I get it. Because I've done it for years. So I need to do X, but it's hard and I might fail, and this triggers all my fears of not being good enough and then I won't be loved. So I'll do X because it's easy and it won't trigger any of those fears. So I'll stay in the relationship because it's easy. I'll stay in the job because it's safe. I'll stay fat because of Domino's. Because it protects us against our biggest fear of not being good enough and as a result not being loved. So task time. Let's see who actually watches these lives. Apart from the 14 people that are here. Today, in the WhatsApp group, grab your balls, ovaries, or boobs, whichever one you prefer, or unicorn thing, whatever it is. What's it called? What unicorns have sticking out of the head? And post today's most important task in the group. And underneath that, horn. I'm a bit, yes. And post the next 3 most important tasks below. So maybe make yourself a little template. Maybe stop what you're doing now and don't do it later. Maybe whenever you watch this video, if you watch this video because you're not procrastinating doing something else, at that second in time, stop, fill in your mouth with veggie sausages, beans and scrambled eggs. And do it now. What is today's most important task? And what are the next 3 most important tasks? Not in the chat on here, Ali, in the group. I'm sorry, I know I'm taking the mick out of you. You're beautiful and you look incredible. And just do it. Get clear on it. Get clarity. Get conviction. What is today's most important task? What are the next 3? Take a little bit of time if you need to. But again, if you're taking a long time to do this, you're probably overthinking it. But I want you to know as well, it's such a normal trait, guys. I'm having fun with you here, but it's a normal trait to avoid fear. It's a normal trait to avoid pain. And very often these threats and these fears and these emotions that we experience, we're actually doing it to conserve energy. So it protects us against fear and pain. I protect myself against the pain of going to the gym by not going to the gym. So, I think we've all done this one. If not, love and respect to you. Give me some tips. So have you ever taken years, months, weeks, years, from the age of 16 maybe, to end a relationship or a career? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Or maybe not start going to the gym, not start looking after your mental health, not start having an elite level of self-care. Only to end up saying, oh my God, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Why the fuck didn't I do that sooner? Why didn't I call my tenant when I needed to sell the house 8 weeks before I actually called him? Why didn't I call the guy who did all the astroturf in my garden to tell him I had a problem 8 weeks before I actually called him to tell him I had a problem? Why didn't I leave the nightclub industry, or running a club, should I say, not the industry full stop, years before I should? Why didn't I fucking stop the record label before I'd wasted another 10 grand on it? Why didn't I stop chasing my DJ career years before I actually ended it when I knew it was over? Only to think, God, why didn't I do that sooner? So whatever the uncomfortable thing was for you, leaving the job, whatever the thing was that was making you unhappy and wasn't working, very often we do it out of stubbornness, right? We'll work it out, it'll be fine. 99 times out of 100 it won't. If you hate your job and you're in a toxic relationship, I'll put forward right now, it ain't gonna fucking get better. Don't forget, I am Jerry Springer. Look after yourselves and each other. So, why? Why did Lee not leave Plug 3 years before he should have done? Creating a whole world of pain for himself and everyone else in the business. I'm always honest, I always keep it real. Avoidance of fear. Will I make it work as a coach? You could prove that one. Fear of uncertainty. Will I be able to pay my mortgage? Fear of hard work. Going self-employed is going to be tough. Fear of uncomfortable conversations. Shit, I have to actually sit down with the other directors and tell them that I'm out. Fuck, how are they going to react? Fear of being judged. Fear of people turning against me. Fear of letting people down. Fear of the business going under if I left. Which it did. Fear of everything. I'll create all of these things, all of these reasons, I don't know what I'm doing with my hand here, to stop me taking the action towards my own life that's going to make me happier. And the second that I did it, all the things that I thought were going to happen, half of them happened anyway. And many of the things didn't happen, but all of the things were out of my control. They all would have happened without me or not. None of it was about me. Some people judged me, some people didn't. Some people will have felt that I let them down, some people didn't. Was the conversation that uncomfortable? Not really. Did I have to work hard? Yeah. Do I still feel afraid and battle with uncertainty in my business? Of course I do. So not only are all the things still here, they all happened and they were all real. So we avoid taking any form of action based on all these fears that, one, are probably going to happen anyway, and two, that we can't really avoid and will be experienced in the same format within the place we are anyway. So if you don't take action on your career, your relationship, or any of these things, you lose anyway. If you take action, you're probably going to experience in them, but at least then you have the chance to move forwards. So you guys, let's go back to so let's just use the career that you're unhappy in, that you hate, and you've got all these reasons why you're still not leaving, and the toxic relationship that you've been in or are in that you're still not taking action on. And you keep avoiding doing the things that are going to move your life forward and probably destroy any chance of you having a happy life. We keep doing the things, we keep not doing the things, we keep procrastinating, we keep not taking the action simply because we're avoiding pain and discomfort. We're avoiding difficult situations. We're avoiding difficult conversations. We're avoiding going to the gym. We're avoiding sorting our diet out. We're avoiding ending the relationship. So then, here's the flipper, right? That will hopefully help you. So we know all of the reasons why we're not changing careers, why we're not getting the relationship handled, why we're not going to the gym, why we're not tracking food, why we're not planning. We know all the reasons why we're not taking the action. So how if we flip that question? I'm going off on a massive tangent here, guys. Hold on. Hold tight. Let's flip the question the other way. Why are we staying in the career? Why are we staying in the relationship? Why are we not taking action? Same reasons, but different. So let's go with the relationship angle. Why are we not ending the relationship? By the way, after this, guys, please don't all get inspired, go and get divorced and quit your jobs and text me at 6 o'clock saying, I'm jobless and single and homeless, where do we go from here? So we maybe not end the job or the career because it's going to be messy, right? Where will I live? How will I support myself financially? How will it affect the kids? How will it affect our friendship group? I'm too old to find true love. What if I don't find someone else? What if I think the grass is greener, but it's not? That was a big win for me, by the way. Screen time down 54%. I really need to end this, but I don't want to hurt the person. That's a big one. What about our joint friendship group? You know, I don't want to work there anymore, but they've been good to me in the past. I don't want to end this relationship, but she supported me through my toughest times. Basically, I can't do X because of X that's happened in the past. Does that make sense? Like, you know the right decision to make for your own happiness, but you find a reason not to. And that reason keeps you stuck and it keeps you unhappy. And it's all your internal protection mechanism to avoid discomfort. The same reason you don't go to the gym. It doesn't matter what level you're doing this for. Same reason you keep ordering the takeaway. Same reason you keep getting pissed. You're avoiding the discomfort of not doing it. I've said this before. Hard decisions lead to easy roads and reward. Easy decisions lead to more pain. Either way, it's that classic phrase, right? Choose your pain. You either get the discomfort of stopping eating shit, stopping drinking, and going to the gym and exercising. You go through that discomfort And on the other side of that discomfort is the body, the life, the dreams and the future, the confidence and the happiness you've always wanted. Or you avoid the discomfort of going to the gym, you continue to eat takeaways and booze all the time, and you get the discomfort of being a fat, lazy alcoholic. Like, both of them are uncomfortable, right? Is it uncomfortable being fat, lazy, drunk and having low energy? Yes. Is it uncomfortable going to the gym, sorting your habits out and doing personal development? Yes. Both options are uncomfortable, but one leads to health and happiness, one leads to pain and misery. So, we stay stuck and we stay unhappy because we're avoiding discomfort and it's easier. That's just a natural human trait. But one of the biggest things that I pulled out planning this training, we talk all the time about fear, right? Fear holding us back. I don't do this because I'm afraid. I don't do this because I'm afraid of failure. I think one of the biggest things why we also don't take action is guilt. I think it's guilt. Sometimes you don't end the relationship, it's not because of fear, it's because of guilt. It is a type of fear as well, but my biggest thing that I struggle with is that I hate to ever think of causing another human pain. So I would avoid doing multiple things towards my own future to not hurt another human, even to the level where it was crippling me and making me depressed. So when both guilt and fear are strong, that's when we'll really struggle. Like, we know what we want to do. We know what we need to do to be happy. But hands up if you feel guilty about doing it. You feel guilty about taking that action. Guilty for your kids, maybe guilty for your partner, maybe guilty for other people in the business, maybe guilty for your friends. Guilt can be a big blocker. But the reality is, right, every single one of us is stronger than we think. And all these potential threats, feelings, emotions, all the, what did I go through? This is going to be messy. Where will I live? How will I support myself financially? How will it affect the kids? I'm too old. What if I don't find someone else? Don't want to hurt another person. What about the friendship group? What about this? What about that? All of these things, right? All of these, will I be able to get another job? Will I be able to earn the same money? On and on and on and on and on. All those potential threats to your happiness, even though you're unhappy and not taking action, will pass. I promise you they'll pass. Because all of that pain, all of that uncertainty, all of that guilt, all of that threat will subside with time. Only 6 months after leaving clubs, I didn't have any of those feelings or emotions. I wasn't worried about any of those things. So, as I said, don't all go out and quit your jobs after watching this, and definitely don't all go out and end your relationships. But ask yourself this one question today. After you've posted in the WhatsApp group, today's number one most important task, today's next 3, and then at 9 p.m. tonight, which is exactly 12 hours from now, you're going to post the same post with 4 green ticks that you've done them all and you didn't spend the whole day looking at unicorns on Instagram. What decisions have I not been making that I know I need to make that are holding my entire future back because of fear and guilt? I'll say that again really slowly. What decisions have I not been making that I know I need to make that are holding my entire future back because of fear and guilt? Now, here's a side note which is very difficult to handle, but it's also one of the biggest reasons people don't make decisions. Truth bomb. Other people's happiness isn't your responsibility. It's theirs. Case closed. Now, I'm not saying run around and start being a see you next Tuesday to people and not thinking about other people's feelings, because that's just not nice. Of course we need to consider other people's feelings, but their happiness isn't your responsibility, yours is. And if you're making yourself unhappy out of fear and guilt, it took me a long time and a lot of therapy to understand this, and you think you're being the better person by suppressing your own needs to not hurt another individual, and you think you are keeping those individuals happy by staying unhappy yourself, trust me, that's a trick your mind is playing on you. If you're in an unhappy relationship and you're really unhappy and you know what you need to do, yet you're not doing it because you think you can suffer your own unhappiness because you don't want to hurt the other person, trust me, this is how you handle it. You're hurting both people. Because they fucking know. They're not daft. We know. If we're in a relationship and the other person's not into it, we know about it. You know, this is another training, but then that goes into the fawn response where sometimes people will start appeasing because, you know, both people will know. So essentially, you're not staying unhappy to make someone else unhappy, you're making two people unhappy. And the kids if there's children involved. And all the employees if there's employees involved. So other people's happiness is not your responsibility, theirs is. So, here's the ending. Whatever hard decisions you're not making because of fear and guilt, just make them. Just do it. Things will get better. Things will be okay. You'll be okay. Everyone will be okay. In fact, everyone will be better. When you're happy, everyone in your life's happy. When you're unhappy, everyone in your life's unhappy. Because we're all mirrors. Now, if we make hard decisions right now, we will have huge reward initially and huge reward for the rest of our lives. If we keep delaying hard decisions because of fear and guilt, we're going to end up in a never-ending cycle of pain. So again, just a little recap. What decisions about your future have you not been making? And I guarantee you the reason you've not been making them will be fear of the unknown, fear of uncertainty, fear of judgment, fear of looking stupid, fear of being wrong, fear of being mocked, fear of missing out, fear of waiting for the right time, risk, not wanting to leave your comfort zone, fear of not meeting expectations, fear of losing what you already have, fear of letting people down, that's the guilt one, fear of not being good enough, wanting to take the easy route, not trusting your gut. Another big one here, waiting for permission, waiting for someone else to give you permission to take action on your own lives, needing someone to agree with you, self-doubt, negativity, what if X happens. All of these are very real things. And they're the reasons we don't make decisions, because we procrastinate on not doing things and making decisions because it is our defense mechanism of fear of failure. That's why you don't start the business. That's why you don't ask the girl out. That's why you don't end the relationship. Because not only do you have a huge fear of failure and uncertainty, you're also resistant to change. And it's a natural body thing, this. Procrastination preserves your self-worth. It stops you doing something that might make you feel guilty, that might make you feel afraid, that might get you mocked, get you judged, get you laughed at. So procrastination is actually a preservation mechanism to avoid pain and fear. Does that make sense? If I start the business, I might fail. So I'll wait another couple of years. If I end the relationship, I might die single and lonely forever. So I'll just stay put for now. If I sign up with the coach, I might still just start eating Pringles like they're going out of fashion, binging on Domino's every weekend, not track my food and not go to the gym. If I do that, I'll feel like I'm not good enough. So all of these things, I'll put them off, because if they don't work out, if I don't succeed, then it will invoke all of those emotions. So I'm actually procrastinating to avoid pain. But if you avoid pain, you'll end up with a painful life anyway. So nobody loses. Nobody loses, nobody wins. So if you're avoiding doing anything because of fear of failure, well, you've already failed because you're not doing anything. But all of those emotions, all of those feelings, actions, whatever we want to call them, will always lead to more guilt, more frustration, more worry, more stress, more anxiety, more depression. And they'll all create a further inaction towards your dreams. So just fucking go for it. Whatever you've not been doing, just do it. Just take action. I love you all. Stay unbreakable.